The NFL draft is officially over, and we have a lot of surprises and a lot of winners and losers, and you see the title and thumbnail. That's what we're going to be going over today. Obvious winner are the Chicago Bears. All I need to say is that the Bears, they got Caleb Williams and Rome Odunze. Now, Caleb Williams was a guarantee coming into the draft, but Rome Odunze fell in their laps after teams like the Titans and especially the Falcons, and the Falcons we're going to get to in a little bit. They passed up on Odunze, and Odunze fell right in their hands, and those two guys are going to be instant game changers for the Bears. And you look at the offense: quarterback Caleb Williams, running back DeAndre Swift, at receiver you have DJ Moore, Keenan Allen, and of course Odunze, and then at tight end you have Cole Kmet, and the defense is very solid. They could very easily make the playoffs and win the NFC North next year. They also drafted a punter, but when you draft Williams and Odunze, you know what, we'll give you a pass for that. Loser, the Atlanta Falcons. Let's get started with the Michael Penix pick, and I have no idea what they were thinking. I really feel bad for Penix because he seems like a good dude and he's a good player, but he's not worth the 8th overall pick. The Falcons desperately needed a defensive guy, and Lyle Tulatu, Dallas Turner, and Byron Murphy were all on the board. In fact, every single defensive player was on the board. Not a single defensive guy was taken yet. But they decided to get Penix, even though they already got Kirk Cousins in the offseason, and to a pretty big deal. Even if you wanted a quarterback, you should have gone with J.J. McCarthy, who was QB number 4, and not with Penix, who would have been available in the second round potentially. And here's the other thing: they said they wanted to go with the Jordan Love route, where they sit a rookie for 3-4 years, and then play him once the guy in front of him is retired. Jordan Love was 21 or 22 when he was drafted, and he was drafted 26th overall, and really the only reason why people were shocked was because they weren't expecting the Packers to draft a quarterback. And not only that, but they had the quarterback Aaron Rodgers. They've had him since 2005. On the other hand, Penix, I think he's 24 years old, so if he stayed him for a few years, he's going to be 27, 28 years old, and you don't want that to happen. He's already going to have only a few years left, and he was a massive reach at number 8 overall, and the quarterback he's going to be sitting behind, Kirk Cousins, they just signed to a massive contract. It's really unfortunate for Penix. Again, I think he seems like a good guy, good player, and if he was drafted into another situation, it would have been better for him and better for the team all around. While this pick single-handedly, it put everyone down, and not only the organization, but also the fans. Kirk Cousins is mad. The fans are mad. I've never seen a draft pick turn against a fan base like that. It's really unfortunate. If you're a Falcons fan, I don't blame you if you want to switch your fandom. But you look at that second round pick, Rook. I'm not even going to attempt to say the last name. They did draft a defensive guy, but they drafted the wrong guy. There was a guy by the name of Jerzon Newton. I don't know if I'm saying that right, but he was still on the board, and he was still there for the taking, and he could have possibly been a first-round guy, and that's who they should have taken, not this Rook guy. I don't know how to say his name. Bad choice there, Falcons. I would only say the best pick was Braylon Trice. That was a good pick. And then you look at Chase McClellan, who is not a bad player, but he's going to be sitting on the bench. And how can I forget to mention, the Falcons desperately needed a defensive back before this draft, and they drafted 0. They still only have AJ Terrell and Jesse Bates as solid to good defensive backs. That's it. They have nobody else. Winner, the Philadelphia Eagles. The biggest sell before the draft for the Eagles was the cornerback, and they I got to be careful how I say this. They got their cornerback position fixed. There they go. As they drafted 2 cornerbacks, and Quinion Mitchell, I think I'm saying that right, Quinion Mitchell and Cooper DeJean, and they should have gone way ahead of 22 and 40. These were the 2 best cornerbacks in the draft, in my opinion, and they should have gone way ahead. And not only that, but Quinion Mitchell and Cooper DeJean are going to defeat racism as the best cornerback duo in the NFL. Not only that, but Will Shipley is going to be a solid running back 2 to Saquon Barkley. He fits the running back 2 role very well. And Jeremiah Trotter, who was projected to be a second rounder or first rounder last year, fell to the 5th round, and I think he can prove a lot of people wrong in the NFL. Loser, the Buffalo Bills. This is mainly because of what happened in the first round. They had the 20th overall pick, and they decided to trade down with the Chiefs, the team that has owned them for the last few years. And with the pick, they decided to pick Xavier Worthy, who set the combine record for the fastest 40-yard time and could be the next Tyreek Hill. An absolute blunder on the Bills' part. There's a reason you don't trade with the Chiefs at all. If Andy Reid wants to trade up because he sees someone he likes, you don't trade up with him. That's a bad thing. But the Bills fell for that. I don't know why. They should probably know, but no, they didn't. The Bills would end up drafting Keon Coleman in the second round after they traded outside the first round with the Panthers. And Keon Coleman isn't bad, but A.D. Mitchell was still on the board, and I think A.D. Mitchell is going to be a better player than Keon. Winner, the Pittsburgh Steelers. The Steelers filled every hole that they needed, and also they drafted the best player at their position at that point in the draft. I don't know the stat, I don't know where I found it or where it's at, but in like 700 offensive snaps, Troy Fatanu, I don't know how to say his name, but the offensive lineman from Washington only allowed like 0 or 2 sacks, something like that. So he's gonna be terrific with the Steelers. Zach Frazier, I don't know too much about him, but the name sounds like a pretty good football player, so I'm just going to stick it with that. Roman Wilson's going to be a very solid wide receiver 2 next to George Pickens, and Peyton Wilson is going to be a very solid linebacker. So yeah, the Steelers, they had a very good draft. I'm giving a big meh to the Denver Broncos because I have no idea how to feel about this draft class. You look at the first round pick, Bo Nix, who should have been a day 2 pick or maybe a day 3 pick, go number 12, mainly in large part again to Michael Penix going to Atlanta. But anyway, Bo Nix going to Denver, I feel horrible about it. If Michael Penix didn't happen, I would feel horrible about this, but this is just my mind getting brushed to the side. This goes for the Falcons, Vikings, and Broncos. You could have waited till next year to draft Shedeur Sanders, Carson Beck, or Quinn Ewers, or Cam Ward, but instead you wasted your draft pick on guys who are career backups in the NFL. It's genuinely dumb. You could have waited till day 2 to draft these guys, or maybe someone like Spencer Rattler or Michael Pratt, someone like one of those guys, but no, it's just dumb. But the reason I'm feeling so questionable about this draft is because of these 2 picks right here, Troy Franklin and Chris Abrams-Drain. Both of these guys could have been day 1 picks. They looked like they were guaranteed day 2 picks. I'm shocked that especially Troy Franklin fell to the 4th round, and I'm surprised my guy Chris Abrams-Drain fell to the 5th. The Broncos got some steals late in the draft. The last team I'm going to be talking about is also a loser, and my last loser is going to be the Minnesota Vikings. They only had 2 day 1 and day 2 picks combined, and they wasted one of them on J.J. McCarthy. And I would be more mad at this pick if it weren't for the Michael Penix pick that took everyone by surprise. And J.J. McCarthy is the Zach Wilson of this draft. Everyone knew they were going to take J.J. McCarthy before the draft, and I hated that idea. And Michael Penix, J.J. McCarthy, and Bo Nix, I hope they all do well in the drafts, or they all do well in their career. The teams are just very stupid for taking them this high. J.J. McCarthy, I compare him to Mac Jones or Zach Wilson. He's just not going to do well in the NFL, and I'm mad at the Vikings for taking him. Outside of that, they only had 1 first-round pick, or even day 2 pick at that, and they used that pick on Dallas Turner, which isn't a bad pick, but it's the fact that they had no day 2 picks, and that just really sets them off as a loser of this draft, and of course the J.J. McCarthy drafting. Yep. So that's going to be it for this video. I would cover more teams and more players, but I'm currently recording this at 11:30 p.m. and I gotta get this out soon, or else, well, the views aren't going to come in. So that's about it for this video, and bye bye.